Welcome, everyone. This is the Masterclass. My name is Patrick Nazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience and I would like to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we take a look at Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. We are going to look at Act 1 first, and in this particular video, we are going to focus specifically on Scene 1. So let us begin. In order to understand Julius Caesar, we must understand something about the historical background. Julius Caesar is set at a time when the last king who ruled them was deposed 500 years back. For 500 years, that means Rome was a republic. They had senators who elected people to rule them. They lived in fear of power being solely in the hands of one person. In this context, we are told about a triumvirate who ruled Rome successfully for many years. There were three of them: Julius Caesar, another general called Pompey, and a third person called Crassus. Crassus died, and some senators conspired to turn Pompey against Caesar, which led to Pompey's death and murder in Egypt. And at the time of this play, Caesar has just won a victory over Pompey's sons and now has returned back to Rome in triumph to be its ruler. There are tribunes in this particular scene. Tribunes are the people who were elected by the senators from among them. They protected the rights of people, and they had the power to veto the Senate decisions if they felt that these decisions harmed the right of the people in any way. A historical fact is that the two tribunes mentioned here, Flavius and Marullus, are actual people. They were removed from office because they took it among themselves to remove the decorations that were put on Caesar's statues to welcome him back home in triumph. We are also going to learn about the Lupercal festival. The Lupercal festival was an ancient Roman fertility festival. It was held on February the 15th, where young men ran through the streets wearing only the skins of goats. Women stood in their way. If they were struck by these people, it was believed that the women in question would become fertile and have children. Caesar, being a politician, uses this public festival in order to increase his influence and his power among the people. In this particular act, we look at two people. On the one hand, we have Caesar's supporters, and on the other side, we have the conspirators. In scene 1, we notice that the common people are celebrating Caesar's victory, but the tribunes are trying to knock sense into them to explain to them that it is not actually a victory because Caesar has not fought against foreign enemies, he has fought against his own people, he has fought against and defeated Romans. Why is Act 1 considered important? Act 1 is considered important because every major character in this play is introduced. It shows us how popular Caesar was and how much power he held. It gives us the seeds of the conspiracy that was sought to be made against him. It establishes the central conflict, whether it is better to be personally loyal to a person or whether you have to be loyal to the public good. We are left in suspense as to what will happen to Caesar. Act 1, Scene 1 is set at a street in Rome. Who are the characters who are present? Flavius and Marullus, who are tribunes. There are commoners like a carpenter and a cobbler. The common people are celebrating Caesar's triumphant return, and these two tribunes go among them and scold them. The cobbler makes jokes, which only makes them more angrier. And they explain to them, who are you celebrating? You are celebrating Caesar. What has he done? He has defeated another son of Rome, ended the life of Pompey, who you once celebrated also. The Romans have fought against Romans. There has been a civil war. There is nothing here to cheer about. There's nothing here to celebrate. If he had won a victory over the common enemies of the Roman people, then there would be something to cheer about. While explaining all this to the commoners, they remove the decorations from Caesar's statue, at the same time trying to make the people feel guilty for being happy. I have given you some passages from the text which are key to understanding this. You will be asked questions based on them. So pause this video, read the text and the explanations. Some are simple and some are not. Because Shakespeare writes in Old English, it might be difficult to follow. So what I have done is that I have taken the English which he has written and translated into simpler English for you to look at, study and understand. Let us take one passage where Flavius says, "Hence, home, you idle creatures, get you home. Is this a holiday?" What is he doing? He is scolding the commoners. He is asking them to get back to their jobs. He's asking them not to celebrate as if it is a big occasion. The cobbler makes fun of him. And here is where a little bit of Shakespeare's genius shines through. He uses a form of comedy called the pun. The pun is where one word could have two meanings or maybe two different words that sound the same. How does it work? Let's look at this passage then. "Truly, sir, all that I live by is with the all. I meddle with no tradesmen's matters, nor women's matters, but with all. And all is the instrument that you have seen a cobbler using. It is a sharp iron implement used for piercing or making holes in leather. All is spelled AWL, but it is pronounced all, and he makes a pun on the word. Like the cobbler says, he makes his living by using an awl. Also, he doesn't bother about anybody else's matters, but he bothers about all. All meaning everybody else, because ALL also means everybody. So having read and understood those key passages, we look at the themes that are given to us in Act 1, Scene 2. The first and most important theme is the fickleness of public opinion. What does that mean? How easily people change their opinions. 1 minute, they are praising Caesar. The next minute, the tribunes come up to them, tell them off for doing so, and they immediately understand that it's a wrong thing they are doing. It shows us how easily large crowds can be manipulated by people who talk well and who can convince others. The second theme we look at is political power and ambition. What is the fear of the tribunes? They fear that Caesar is becoming too powerful. He might be becoming more king-like, and they don't wish to live like that. They try to keep his popularity within limits. The people may look up to him, the people may respect him, but they should never ever think of making him a king. There is a conflict here between republican values and one-man rule. For 500 years, Rome has elected its own rulers, and they don't wish to go back to being ruled by a king. There is loyalty versus politics. Should Rome be loyal to individuals like the commoners have switched their loyalty to Caesar, or should they be loyal to principles? The idea that one man should not hold absolute power. The idea that senators should elect people from among themselves to rule over the Roman citizens for a fixed length of time in order that ordinary people's lives may improve. This is the question that forms the basis of the entire play. We also see class conflict at work here. The tribunes obviously belong to the upper class, and the commoners belong to the lower class. You can see by the way the tribunes talk to the commoners that they have no love for them. They look down upon them, in fact, that element of disdain, the element of behaving as if the person whom I'm speaking to is a lesser human being than I am. It's a bit like in India we have an upper caste person and a lower caste person. But both of these groups have their own political views. The tribunes do not like what Caesar is becoming. The commoners appreciate what Caesar is doing for them. This sets up the clash. What are the literary devices in use over here? The first one, as we pointed out to you, are puns and wordplay, where the cobbler jokes. All sounds like all. Souls rhyme with souls. The purpose? It shows that even the common people, the common Romans, were intelligent people who possessed a lot of wit. Then there is metaphor. These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wings. Caesar is likened to a bird, his supporters to feathers. It shows us how when you remove support, power of the person is weakened. There is hyperbole, in other words, exaggeration. Weep your tears into the channel, till the lowest stream do kiss the most exalted shores. In other words, cry so much that the very stream will fill up and overflow and cause flooding. Is that possible? No. That is an example of hyperbole. Rhetorical questions. Normally, when you ask a question, you look for an answer, but rhetorical questions are meant to make people think. Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings he home? Asking the commoners to understand what is there to celebrate. Whom has he actually defeated? There is repetition. And do you now? And do you now? And do you now? They keep asking the commoners, which emphasizes how the tribunes feel that the common people have betrayed the idea of Rome, the idea of Pompey. There is imagery, visual images of the decorations, the flowers, the celebration that is going on in the streets of Rome. It gives us a picture of how Caesar is being celebrated in Rome. Let us now try to analyze the characters in this scene. Firstly, we look at Flavius. Who is he? A tribune. What is his personality like? He is authoritative, angry, fearful of Caesar's growing power. What is his motivation? What is his thinking? He wants to preserve the Roman Republic. What actions does he do? He scolds the commoners. He removes the decorations from their statues. What is the significance of Flavius? He is the person who represents the Roman Republic, the faction that is opposed to Caesar's growing popularity. Marullus is also a tribune, a friend of Flavius. What is he like? Passionate and emotional. He is nostalgic for Pompey. His motivation, the loyalty to Pompey's memory. He is fearful again of Caesar's growing power. He delivers an emotional speech to the crowd. He compares people's love for Pompey to the love that they are now showing Caesar. Significance of this person, it shows how strong an opposition there is to Caesar. Then we have the cobbler, who is a shoemaker and who represents the common people. He's a witty person, clever and playful. He is not frightened of authority as represented by the tribunes. He makes funs, he jokes with the tribunes. He shows us that even the commoners have intelligence and spirit. The carpenter, another working man. The commoners, working class citizens. They are easily influenced. They celebrate whoever is winning. Everybody loves a winner. Nobody celebrates a loser. What are the personalities like? They are fickle, they are changeable, they are easily influenced. Previously, they were all for Pompey. Now, they're all for Caesar. These commoners represent those people who can be swayed by other people's talk, by the way other people make them want to think. There are some important quotes that I've given here that will probably come up during your examinations. For example, let's just look at one. Quote 2. Knew you not Pompey? Who spoke these words? Marullus. What context did he speak these words in? He's reminding the people of their former hero, how much they once loved Pompey. What is the significance of this particular quote? It shows us how quickly public opinion changes. Look at the other quotes that I mentioned. Pause the video and understand them. Now, why is scene 1 so important? It gives us the setting immediately. It tells us how Rome looked after Caesar's victory. It shows us the political tension between Caesar's supporters and his opponents. It introduces conflict. It tells us that not everyone is a supporter of Caesar. Some people worry that he'll become a tyrant. Lays the foundation of the assassination plot. It also shows us public opinion. Commoners support Caesar now, but they are easily turned against him. Foreshadowing. It hints at conspiracy against Caesar. It shows us that Caesar has powerful enemies, is in very real danger. What themes are introduced in this particular scene? Power and ambition, loyalty and betrayal, public opinion versus individual conscience. Here you will find a list of words from the passages, the vocabulary which I have translated into ordinary English so that it would be easy for you to follow. Again, I would suggest you pause and take a look at it or copy it down into your own notes. For example, what is the meaning of the word replication? It means echo or reverberation. What is the meaning of exalted, high or elevated, and so on. Please pause the video and take a look at the slides that are down. I have given you some practice questions. I would suggest that you try to attempt them. And then I have given you the answer keys along with it. That will help you to better understand the lesson and will also serve you in the way of notes should you need to study in a hurry. I'm going to help you understand when this comes up in your examinations, what is it that examiners look for? How do they set their questions? The first thing they look for is, do you have an understanding of political conflict? Can you understand why these tribunes are opposing Caesar? They look for character analysis. Can you describe, say, Flavius or Marullus or the cobbler? There are literary devices. Do you understand that puns are used, metaphors are used? The themes. Can you discuss what is fickle public opinion? Can you discuss power? Can you discuss loyalty to the republic? Loyalty to an individual? You look at the context. You have to understand the context. Who Pompey was, for example. He is not here. He's just mentioned as a name, but you should know something about him. Quote analysis. Can you pick up and explain important lines from the text? You cover these points, you will get full marks. All these points which we have discussed, I have already explained to you in the previous sections of the videos. Go over them and you will not be at a loss come exam time. That's the lesson there for you then. I do hope I have been of help. If I have, please do remember to like, subscribe and share. Remember, there might be others who will be requiring our help. Thank you so much for watching.